Okay, Herc, Wrexham getting more and more popular. Is there a risk it could overtake Major League Soccer here in the States?
Why are you the way you are?
Fair question.
It's not that it's a risk they could overtake Major League Soccer. Excuse me. I understand why you're asking the question. It's insanely popular. It's popular with soccer fans. It's popular with some MLS fans. It's popular with casuals who aren't even fans of the sport. But it's why is it popular, Seb? It's a great story that's being told by great storytellers. It's not that just that they're celebrities and they invested money. And this great story being told by celebrities, storytellers, at the center of all this is this pro-rel, promotion relegation. There's risk involved. There's something actually at stake. You win, you go up. You don't, you stay. And if you stay, that could be the end of your town. That means more money, more infrastructure, more opportunities in the workforce, et cetera, for this town. There's actual skin in the game, and they tell this story in a compelling way. And there's a platform for it where it goes to the masses. So I see why you're asking the question. But a singular team to overtake a whole league, it's a little much. And what I mean by that is you're taking the top tier of one league, right? Wrexham. That's as good as it gets in their league.
I'm not talking about the National League. No, I'm just talking about Wrexham, yeah.
Right. Well, you're talking about Major League Soccer. So if you're trying to say it's going to be more popular than the history that Major League Soccer already has, or LAFC and the great story that's been the last couple years. Or,
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you. You mentioned LAFC.
Agree.
That's a perfect one. You mentioned LAFC. What do you think was more popular in Los Angeles this weekend? LAFC or Wrexham?
Well,
because I would say in Portland, I think the Timbers still ahead of Wrexham. In Seattle, Sounders still ahead of Wrexham. In a lot of other cities, I bet you Wrexham is cutting through right now more than the MLS team.
Yeah, it's a little unfair because they've got more of a platform. And I say that with all due respect. I say that with all due respect. Season Pass, I don't know how many people actually have Season Pass compared to how many people have Hulu or have, whatever other platform you could find it on, Disney Plus, et cetera, ESPN Plus. There's just more avenues of seeing Wrexham than there maybe today of Major League Soccer. But I don't necessarily think that makes it more valuable or more popular. I don't know where you're trying to go with this, Seb. And listen, they're doing a great thing at Wrexham. Rob McElhenney and Ryan Reynolds are telling a great story. They've got people invested in a place they've never been to, somewhere they've never even heard of, a team they didn't even know existed. It's a great story, but it's only a great story because of the storytelling, because of what it revolves around, which is pro-rel. And people are going to say it doesn't have to be pro-rel. Well, the story doesn't exist without pro-rel. You're not going to get people invested on something where they're just going to stay there. There's no skin in them. They may be able to win a trophy, but they're not going to. They wouldn't have the opportunity to have this investment from these celebrity owners if there wasn't this opportunity to be promoted.
Right. Popular might not be the right word. Hotter property is definitely Wrexham right now. The hotter property, the one that's driving more interest in this moment. And there's plenty of ways, there's plenty of evidence that we could talk about that I think most of it is not really like obvious evidence. It's things that you see on websites, right? Like we talked about Mark Ogden coming on the show the other week. Suddenly it's a guy who used to cover Manchester United and Manchester City covering Wrexham. But what I think is more evident of just how popular this thing is not the sports outlets that are covering it. You're seeing People Magazine write articles about this. You're seeing CNN write articles about this. And that's where I see popularity that MLS, honestly, Herc, has not almost ever touched in its existence. Maybe when David Beckham came, and maybe when Freddie Adu was at the very beginning, when MLS truly crossed over and people who knew nothing about, forget MLS, soccer were asking you about the league. Like people who know nothing about soccer are asking me about Wrexham. And that's where I think there's a huge difference between the two leagues. Right now, MLS does not in any way attract a mainstream casual sports fan, let alone somebody who's beyond the sports bubble, which is what Wrexham is now bringing in.
Yeah, it's a fair assessment. You could also argue it's just driving attention for people because they like the story. They like to be entertained, and it's much more than a weekend scoreline. It's an actual story, so they've got that over an actual game product.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.